Hi, I'm Becky Alexander Frost, and if you've joined me on this video, you're wanting to learn how to put zip pulls onto zippers. Please stay tuned. Right, so welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, I'm Becky Alexander Frost and I'm a pattern designer, and I'm a pattern designer in sewing. And I generally specialise in bags and bag patterns like these ones here. So I run a monthly subscription club over on my Patreon. No plug, but the link is down below and might pop up here somewhere if I can get it to work. But yeah, a lot of my subscription members, monthly members, are asking, because most of them are all beginners. Hi ladies, hi gentlemen. Most of them are all beginners, so they're basically learning from scratch. And when I've been talking about zips, like a number 5 zip and a number 3 zip, they've been a bit blank and not knowing what to do. And then I tell them to buy a certain length, and they've been buying it on the yard or the meter. So, and then they've got the pulls separate, which are these zip pulls here, these here. They're not knowing what to do with them or how to get them on. So this video is for you. So if you are interested in joining the Patreon group, like I said, the link is in the description below, and take a look, have a look, and if you have any questions, just message me. Yeah, we have spaces left, that's what I'm trying to say. Right, so I'm going to go over to the overhead camera up here and basically talk you through on how to put zip pulls onto your zippers and the difference between a number 5 and a number 3 zip. And I'm going to talk you through the tools that you may need or are available for being able to put these zip pulls on. Right, so the zip tutorial, some easy methods on how to put the zip pulls on for a number 3 and some zip pulls on a number 5 zip. Right, so I'm just going to tell you the difference between the two zips. First of all, the pulls are quite obvious. As you can see, this pull here is far greater size than this pull. So this pull, this dark blue one, is classed as a number 3. So anytime I put into my patterns or any other designer's patterns and they say for a normal zip or a number 3 zip, this is the size pull that you'll be looking at. Then if they say for a number 5 or a bag zip, then you're looking at a number 5, which is this size, and you can see there is quite a major comparison. The number 3 is the number 5, sorry, is at least half the size again. Right, so the difference between the zip tapes, these two, so this is a number 3. You will find when we talk about the numbers, the number 5 and number 3, there is other zips available, as in different sizes, but generally in bag making and most sewing they will say either a number 3 zip or a number 5 zip. The number 3 zip, right, so to get the number from the zip, it's generally to do with the coil that is the actual zip part. And that measures, on a number 3 zip, will measure 3 millimeters. On a number 5 zip, this coil here, which is my rainbow stripy bit here in the center, which is where the teeth is, which closes up the zip. This is a measurement from here, from this side of the coil to this side of the coil. That will measure 5 millimeters. Okay, so that's how they get the numbers 5 and number 3 zips. The number 3 zip as well, this tape here, which is what we call the zip tape, which is either side of that zip coil in the centre, this zip tape generally on a number 3 will measure 1 inch. As you can see, it measures 1 inch. These are 1 inch diameter squares. Generally with a number 5 zip, this will measure 1 1/4. So let me just get a tape measure or a quilter's rule. So this measures approximately 1 1/4. So that's 1 inch and a quarter. Okay, so a lot of people have been asking how I, without any other tools apart from tools that I've got in my house, how to put these zip pulls on to continuous zips. So if you brought a zip that had zip stops at either end, you probably won't be able to put one of these back on. It's to do with how the teeth are working. That's generally, but sometimes you do get the odd ones that have multi-directional teeth. These are, if you buy the zip tape like these two on the meter or on the roll or by the yardage, you generally find these are two-way zip teeth. So they can interlock either front and back. Okay, so there is a few ways of getting the zip pulls on. So I'm going to show you the number 5. You will find the larger the zip coil, the easier the zip pulls are to get on. The smaller the zip, it's slightly harder, but there is ways. So we're going to put the number 3 to one side for the moment, and we're just going to work with the number 5. Right, so generally what I tend to do is, I'll explain the fork in a minute, trust me, it could come in handy in some people's hands. Right, so generally if I'm asked to cut a 9-inch zip, if I was asked in a pattern to do a 9-inch zip, I deliberately, personally myself, will cut a 10.5-inch strip of zip or zipper tape. Personally, because they will be a bit of wastage when you actually put the zip pulls on, so possibly marginal, like a millimetre or so, but I just like that extra precaution that I've cut my zip coil tape, my zipper tape, a lot longer than what I actually need. So for instance, I've got here, just measure this, I've got a 16-inch zip, and possibly a pattern would say, oh, you need a 14-inch zip. So a 14-inch zip, so I have 1 inch either side to play around with, right? Right, so I'm going to show you how I put a zip pull on to a number 5 without using any utensils like the kitchen fork, which I promise you I will definitely show you, but just using a pair of scissors. So first of all, I just trim off the edge, because 9 times out of 10 it would be free. Okay, I have been doing zips for a very long time, so I don't have to do any cutting here, but I'll show you how I do it first, and then I will show you how a beginner will need, what a beginner will need to do. Right, so I basically pop this pointy part of the zip, not the flat side, the pointy part onto the zip on the one side. Well, I'm more confident on my left hand side, and I put my zip pull at a slight angle. I don't go, the zip tape is about a few millimeters away from the edge of the actual straight part at the back. Then I get the zip tape on the other side and do it at an angle. I flick this over, which you just saw me do. And as you can see, my tape on both sides is at an angle. I just basically get my finger in the centre and push that onto the teeth. So it starts coming out the back. Then I just basically put my fingers on each side of the tape and just pull. That's how I comfortably put on a zip. And I will do the same for this one on this side to make it a two-way zip. So I just basically push this as far as it will go to around about an inch away from the other end. You always have to push this zip pull to the other short end. I open up that zip and then I just get my zip pull. I've got a bit of frayed end there, so I'm just going to pull this zip pull as close as I can get it because I want a straight edge. And I'm just going to trim that. Just going to pull back that down. Right. Like I say, I'm more confident on my left hand side to hold the pull in my left hand, and then I just push it onto the tape, onto the coil at the end, put my fingers on the end, and then I have a two-way zip pull. This is for a person that has been doing zips for a long time and don't need to adjust the ends. I'm going to show you if you are a novice and a beginner at putting zip pulls on and you haven't got time to get a fork. Okay, so open up your zip slightly like this. So I'll say that's about an inch, half an inch. I worked out my confident side of holding the pull was my left hand. I use my right hand to command where the pull should go. So I'm going to leave the left hand side as it is, but the right hand side of the zip tape, I'm going to trim this back by about 3 teeths worth. So you might not see this on the camera, but that's 1, 2, 3 teeth in. That's about 1/4 of an inch, and I'm just going to trim it back like so. I've actually gone 4 teeth. It really doesn't matter, but just don't cut too far down. Okay, so the next thing you're going to do is pull this apart. You're going to pop this onto the zip at an angle on the left hand side. Then you're going to pop the zip straight, the pull straight, but making sure that it is still hanging off at the end. So as you can see, mine's hanging off half the amount of the zip pull. Okay, and then basically you just keep pushing that zip pull down until it meets that side, that short side, and you just basically keep pushing down, and then your zip pull is on. Then pull it down to the other end and open it up. Now if you wanted just one zip pull on, then that's fine, you leave it as it is. But what you will need to do is, because we trimmed it at the end, you need to trim this back so it's basically a neat edge. So like so. Now if you want to put the zip pull on, a second zip pull on, before I always use my left hand, but this time because we don't want no gap where the 2 pulls meet in the middle of the zip, you will need to pop this zip pull onto the right hand side. So for instance, my right hand side is slightly longer. That's because when I put the zip pull on, this side was my longer side on this side where I originally put that first zip pull on. So I'm going to pop this zip pull onto the right. Now I'm not that confident at holding it steady, but I'm going to give it a go. You pull this zip apart and then you go in at an angle, push that pull on like I did before, and pop your 2 fingers onto the tape and just pull. They naturally meet in the middle. They naturally meet now. If I hadn't have left that long bit on the ends and put it on the right side first, this hole here where the 2 pulls meet would have been a far greater hole, far bigger hole than what it is actually now. There is another reason why I say to make your your zips longer, which is what I was trying to explain earlier on. When I sew a zip on, I always pull my pulls down to one side. So obviously I've sewn over this end and I've sewn over this end, so my zip pulls can't fall off. When I attach this to the fabric, to the body of the bag, if I'm not doing a pocket and it's the outside zip, I will actually pop the pulls to one side. Then it means that I've got a perfectly straight edge. Because if my zips pulls were in the centre and I put this on, pin this on to the outside of the bag to make the zip, to make a closure on the bag, what you may find is your once you've finished making your bag, you'll notice your zip isn't perfectly straight. It will be wavy like this, and you will find problems opening up the zip eventually over time. So always cut your zipper tape at least 2 inches bigger than what the actual pattern size says, and it means that you can basically pull it to a side, those pulls to a side, and use that space there to actually sew onto your actual bag. And then once you've sewn this onto the bag, you can then move these into the centre and trim off your excess, if the pattern tells you to do so. Some patterns tell you to leave excess zipper tape on. Right, so that's a number 5 zip. A number 3 zip, I generally do the beginner's way. I'm not a confident number 3 zip person, but I will show you. So for instance, my left hand, I will keep the longest. I'll pull that apart and cut 2 teeth or 3 teeth off on a number 3. Same with the zip pull here. You have a triangle part, which is the front of the zip, and then you have a straight part at the back. The triangle part always goes onto the zip tape. Now I know these teeth will only lock one way, so I cannot put another pull on this side. You generally will find most number 3's zips, you can only put the zip pull on one way. There is the odd few, but this is an only one way opening zip. So I'm going to pop this pull on. So I'm starting off on my left side, and then at an angle, as you can see, it's pointing that way. Pop this in so the zip tape is at an angle, and I just get my finger in and just hear that click. There is a bit of a click, you probably can't hear it on the mic, but there is a click to let me know that that zip pull was on the coil on both sides of that zip pull. And then basically you just pull it on. I always undo the end, and then when I come to stop the zip pull from falling off, I just sew across the end here and the end here. Like I say, you do get some number 3 zips where you can actually add a second zip pull on if you want to, but I've only got one-way zips on number 3s. Right, so there is gadgets out there. There is some very expensive table gadgets where you pop the pull on, you get the zip tape and you just feed it through. I have one, but they are so expensive to get made. Mine was made by a friend's dad and it cost me about £35. But this kitchen fork will do the same. So you've got to go out and find a kitchen fork that you can use. So I'm going to start off with the number 3 zip. Once again, I'm not confident with number 3. With the number 3 pulls, it's slightly different to the number 5 pulls. So if I get one of these number 5 pulls. A number 5 pull is we ignore this actual charm bit that's on the zip. Because I'm calling them charms because you can get different shaped ones. We're going to use this part here where the charm attaches onto, which is, as you can see, it's like a hook. I'm hoping that's focused. Right, so this bit here is what we're going to use to attach it to the fork. So I've got my fork upside down, this straight part of the zip, and I've got my pull upside down. So this bit here where the claw is, where the charm goes on, that's on the bottom side, on the bottom of the actual pull. This triangle bit here will go where the teeth top are of the prongs of the fork, and then we're going to put the straight edge on at this going down here. So basically what I've done is this part of the hook where the charm of the pull sits hooks in these prongs in the gap, and the fork is holding that into place, so I won't have that left-handed problem. So if I take that pull off, once again you will do what I explained. If you're a beginner, you'll cut one side shorter than the other, but this time, rather than working on top, we are going to work from underneath, so with the wrong side of the zip tape is pointing up. So my left side is my longer side, so I will put that into my pull first. Basically, you've got a larger surface area to hold with a fork. Then we're going to open up that zip and pop that zip tape into that pull, and then we are just going to click it together. Now I'm doing this at an angle. There you go. I had to rest my fork onto the table, and then I basically just hold the 2 zip tapes either side and just gently pulled it through. Then you can just slide that pull off and pop the zip on and basically pull it to the other end. This takes practice, this method does, with the fork. Right, so, and it's similar to the number 3, but this time the fork will slip through. My fork doesn't like where the claw is, and where the claw is to hold the pull. So most number 3 zips have holes in here and here. I basically just thread one of the prongs in through that hole, like so, as far as it will go down. The pull will move slightly, that's fine. Then we're going to trim part of this zip tape. So I will be working this side first. So this part here, this right side, because I'm upside down now, so my zip coil is on the wrong side, which is pointing towards the mat. So So we've got the wrong side of the zip pointing up. I'm going to trim back this part of the tape by a couple of teeths worth. Right. Now I'm not really confident about me doing a number 3 zip, but I do actually put my thumb there to stop it rocking at the start. I feed the longer side in first, and like I say, you've got a larger surface area to hold the tape in. It might be best if you put that's it. I've moved my pull over so I have a larger area to hold. So I've got my tape in on the one side, my fingers are resting underneath, and I have a thumb on top of the actual pull, and then I just get the zip tape in like so. Pop the fork standing upright like a soldier, and just pull that tape through. Pull that fork out the way and bring your slider to the end, and then you will sew across this end and this end to stop this pull from falling off. Now I will show you the tool that I have, and I'll show you some basic things that you probably might have or can get off certain websites to make one yourself. So depending on if you've got a handyman to make one, this could be a doddle. So this, I know for well, I have a few of these, and they're called table mounts for likes of cameras or lights for photography. So there's nothing stopping you buying one of the mobile phone stands that you clamp to your table that has this this slot here, and generally there is companies out there that sell these stands, and these stands come apart, so you're left with this part. So that could be an option for you to do. And I get the impression this is a screwdriver, a flathead screwdriver that's had, I think it's got something welded here to make it bigger to fit into this hole. And then here, the gentleman who made this for me, this is obviously the flathead part of the screwdriver. He's obviously bent it for me, and he's cut the hole. Now that hole is only for a number 5 zip. I cannot put a number 3 zip in this. There is no way I can put a number 3 zip in this zip pull. And basically that just rests in like the fork method that we just did here. So, and this part just goes in here. So for instance, click that. It can go either that way, so your table's this side, or you can have it pointing, so the table's this side, and you can have this pointing towards the table. I'm not going to demonstrate it because I have to be on the edge of the table, but it is so simple to use. So obviously we'll tighten this up. And if you do have a good handyman, or you are a good handy person, like you could be a woman that's handy, you could always, with this flathead screwdriver, make this hole slimmer for a number 3 pull. So basically you would have to measure the diameter of the actual claw, that where the charm of the pull goes into, to do a number 3 one. But it's so much easier to have one of these, but they are so far. In the UK there isn't any sellers making them or selling them. I know in America there is some people and some manufacturers now selling them, and I know abroad there is a lot selling them, but in the UK we struggle with these. So me and my husband came up with this idea that this part here, which is the bit which I think has been mostly manufactured from a screwdriver, if you had a kitchen fork without this plastic or whatever this is, I think it's plastic, yeah, and it fits in this hole here, you can still get one of these, and basically you can bend your fork and it will still work the same. So there is options out there, but I generally don't really need this. I don't use it, and I now regret buying it, but it's a handy tool, and sometimes if I have a large amount of pulls to put on and a small space of time, I will use this. Right, so I'm hoping that's explained how to put zip pulls on. Right, I'm hoping you actually learnt something there. I'm not a confident number 3 zip pull person to put pulls on, but they actually went smoothly today, so I'm really impressed with myself there. Round of applause. Right, so like I say, if you're new to the channel and you're wondering who I am, I have plenty of videos on this channel. If you like this video, please click the thumbs up. Oh, it's so corny saying that. Please click the thumbs up and drop us a comment saying you're new to the channel, or if you've never put a zip pull on and whether this video has given you confidence or not. I'd like feedback, to be fair. And if you would like to subscribe to the channel, that's a really tongue twister, subscribe to the channel, just click the subscribe button, and if you want to be notified every time there is a new video, click the bell button next to it. So yeah, I look forward to the next video, and I'm so sorry it's been a long time since the last video, but I've been so busy with some things that are coming up, and yeah, some TV appearances. So I look forward to seeing you soon, and thanks ever so much for watching. See you soon. Bye.